Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Finally on H. At last. Let me, I don't know, center it a little bit. I was very much coming out of frame, I think. Yeah. Like so. With the music. Hopefully. Alright. We'll wait a couple minutes. Not too long. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. Yeah, gonna wait a little while. Just a minute or two. This is to H, so they got some changes, opinions, odd choices, etc. Usual. Kind of a decent reading, kind of an interesting reading in places. There was a couple really hot, like, oh, what the fuck kind of things. I think that was a pretty exciting reading this time. I just finished Azukuchin Cha-Cha. It was a lot of fun. Goofy, lovable characters with great animation that cranked up the zaniness to 11. And by finishing Cha-Cha, I've now completed at least one seasonal TV anime from every season between today and summer of 1993. Wow. Still got a ways to go back, but from that to 93 is insane. That is crazy. And I can't make my streak any longer because no new TV anime started airing that season. Mission failed successfully. I mean, then you just don't. Then they don't have to worry about that season. There's no like that's TV anime's fault, not yours. So just keep on going. Just go from, just like, oh, and they did, like, fine by me. I don't have to watch anything. Just keep going. I encourage it. I'm sure you got a lot of other ones. Like, you've already probably seen a ton from, like, at least one season of a lot of different stuff. I should check. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I should check that to see how many I'm missing. Obviously, probably a lot. There's probably a lot of duplicates, but I do wonder. I feel like I'm missing some years too, so like, I wouldn't be doing so hot. Yo, Issa boy, good to see you. Hey, Shabes. Hello, Yoru. It's nice seeing you. I don't see you that often here. All right. You know what? Let's do it. Let's, assuming the levels and stuff are good, let's head over to notes. Yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff from seasons before December 93. Yeah, just keep going. All right. We're starting with the changes in H section. For H2, they added a little bit about how the live-action series from 2005, a little bit of that. Hakuge Densetsu, right off the bat, really interesting. They moved and changed Hakuge Densetsu, the title of their article. In 2001, they called it Moby Dick in Space. And then, which is a cheeky title, and I guess it could work, and I like calling it that, but it's not accurate. In the third edition, they call Hakuge Legend of Moby Dick, which is more accurate. And they also completely rewrote the article. I'm pretty sure the only other time they've done this is like Angel's Egg, and even that one may have kept some things. This was wholly rewritten, like I think entirely. Hey, Shabes. Hello, Gustavo. Good to see you. Yeah, I think the only years I'm missing is 1970. Post 1970 are 72 and 76. 76 is hard. 76 is very hard. But I am watching 3000 Leagues in Search of Mother right now, which is 76. So you could do that one. And it's a Takahata, so why not? It's not great. Mostly because the subs are bad. Like, the subs are machine translated and are not that good. Still not bad. It's okay. It's just, yeah. So, whatever. Hakuge Densetsu. Let me read this for you guys. I imagine you guys haven't seen this one. I understand that. I was a little disappointed. I don't think they mentioned Dazaki at all. Or the fact that he wrote it, you know? Yeah, that's right. I was looking at H, but they put it in as M for Moby Dick in Space in the first edition. Let's see. Moby Dick in... Yes. Very tiny article for one thing. Like, that It's like that's how small it is. Like not that big, all things considered. The Space Federation police ship White Whale cruises the cosmos in search of pirates, tangling with the most infamous, its old nemesis, the one-eyed, one-legged Captain Ahab. A curious sci-fi retelling of Herman Melville's Moby Dick from the whale's point of view. Its satellite broadcast was split into 2 sections by financial difficulty, resulting in a year-long hiatus after episode 18. Which is true. So no mention of Tazaki, that's too bad. But, it's not told from the whale's perspective at all. Like they are correct in it being a Space Federation police ship. Basically, it's a weapon. It's literally just a giant weapon. Yeah, but like, and Captain Ahab's like the bad guy. That's not the case. So this is completely rewritten in the 3rd edition. In the year 4699, deep in space out by the Nantucket Nebula, a group of salvage experts search for whales, the abandoned hulks of colony ships left over from humanity's massive expansion into the cosmos. Young teenager Lucky Luck has come to the area in search of Captain Ahab, ostensibly hoping to join the crew of his ship, the Lady Whisker. In fact, as later episodes reveal, he is actually hoping for Ahab's help against the Moby Dick, a predatory space vessel whose approach threatens to destroy Lucky's home world. The series aired across 3 calendar years on its original broadcast after being temporarily suspended partway. Completely rewritten. Entirely rewritten. So that was interesting. I imagine it probably had to do in part with, like, it wasn't brought over in English at the time of them writing the 1st edition. You can tell because they don't have the asterisk in the title. In the 3rd edition they do, because it was brought over by ADV and dubbed. One of the few Dazaki TV series that are actually fully dubbed. I think I want to say like the only one. I want to say it's the only one actually, because like, I mean, Blackjack is dubbed, but that's an OVA series. But like in terms of a Dazaki TV series, I reckon to say that might be the only one, which is really interesting. I might be wrong about that. Oh, then I meant 77 because I saw 3,000 Leagues. You haven't seen anything from 77? I mean, you have Remy. You also have Daitarn. I forget which one is it. I think it's Zambot in 77. I'm pretty sure it's Zambot in 77. Yeah. Yeah. You probably saw something in 77. Or if not, Nobody's Boy Remy. There's probably some others. I actually like the part where he was stuck in Italy the most. Yeah. I can kind of take or leave the whole show at this point. I know Hakage was the work Dazaki was most proud of because it let him leave his mark on a classic story. Also, hey, Fullman, man. Yeah, I can imagine he was also most proud of it because he wrote it. He co-wrote it with Akio Sugino, which is fucking awesome, right? Like, they've worked with each other for decades, but always as, like, character designer and director, or, like, you know, animation director for Sugino. But, like, for writing, I don't know if they're credited for, like, anything else. And, like, that's so cool. And, like, it came out pretty good. Like, I actually really like Hakugi Densetsu a lot. And are Dazaki Key movies dubbed? Probably, but those are movies. Like, I think I was thinking of the Space Adventure Cobra movie. Yes, it was. I thought it was. I might be wrong. I might be confusing with the pilot episode that is dubbed. There is one episode of the TV series for Cobra that is dubbed, but it was like an experiment. It was kind of like a test run thing. It wasn't really a full official whatever. 1976 has Candy, I think. Oh, probably, yeah. Yeah, but he meant in terms of full series. Yeah. Anyway, completely rewritten article. Interesting. I think it's very, very rare. I'd have to look again, but that's incredibly rare. Really interesting, though. I'm happy they did that because I love Hakuge Densetsu. Hamtaro, they added some paragraphs about the movies and the video incarnations. It's really interesting how they kind of downplay Hamtaro. You know, like, usually they have an air of reverence for some big franchises and stuff like that. And in the 1st edition, Hamtaro only aired for like 40 episodes. So it hadn't aired for the nearly 300 episodes that it would come to be. and make kind of a decent splash in the US, and having all those movies, which they also don't mention are directed by Dazaki again, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But yeah, like it was interesting the way they kind of word that, and they didn't change much of the wording from the first edition. Hanaichi movie, they added about a bit how the title is taken from traditional Japanese children's game. Nice tidbit, really interesting. Hanaokyo Maid Team, they added a paragraph about the second season, which is technically a remake, which is really interesting. It's like the different studios, and this was the version that was licensed. This is the version that was licensed, basically, instead of this first one, which, like, they completely tore it apart. The first season, I have to make sure I make a note of that. First series. They completely shit on that first series, and then they don't really say too much about the second one. Just checked. I'm missing 71, 72, and 77. I mean, if you count, if it has to be, like, starting in that year, then sure. But, like, Joe did technically air in 1971. I'm sure there's movies, though. 72 probably is hard. And yeah, there's plenty of stuff in 77. You can totally do that. I find it interesting that Adult Swim never aired Hokage back in the day. I would have ate it up as a kid. Yeah, I don't know. ADV was a little into that. There's probably a lot in that area that they could have done. I don't know. The Cobra movie is dubbed. In fact, I think all of Dazaki's movies are dubbed except Hamtaro and the Aim for the Ace movies. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's right. Like, no dub. Fucking Go-Go is dubbed. And the Lupin specials are dubbed. To be fair, the Hamtaro movies are far from Dazaki's best work. Yeah, I didn't even watch the third and fourth ones. I kind of got the idea from the first and second. It doesn't have that much of his style in it, and he's sort of just like, yeah, they asked me, and I did them. Sure. You know. Yeah, I'm only looking at stuff that started in the season or year. Okay, fair. Anyway. Handmaid May. They added a paragraph about the video sequel. Happy Humping Boing Boing. A lot of going on in this article for some reason. I don't know why. Of all articles, right? There's a slight rewording of the synopsis. And then they cut this part of the synopsis saying, fretting that his newscaster girlfriend Noriko will think he is having an affair with them, which he eventually does. So I guess that's like spoilers in the first edition for Happy Humping Boing Boing. They also basically swapped. They cut this part where it's like, also wants a piece of Tokyo, and we all know what piece. A little bit of snark on their end. And they changed that to, all this leads Tokyo to a series of lighthearted sexual encounters, some of which would have gotten a real Japanese TV station prosecuted for violating the anti-obscenity law. I much prefer the updated version in this instance, because I think it's more informational, because it's like, this amount of material would have gotten them prosecuted. Maybe that's a joke, but I don't know. That sounds a lot better than like the smarminess of saying like, we all know what piece. I mean, I guess it's a joke, but like, again, I'm really finding their humor to be very useless. Like, very unsubstantiative. I guess interesting and colorful in its own way. It's better than being like super dry, I guess. But it very more often detracts from the article than adds to it, in my opinion. Also added this tidbit, who in this one character in the anime, who in an imitation of real life porn star Kaoru Kuroki advocates the sexiness of armpit hair. I'm just gonna make mention of it now. I put that in the odd choices as like, how do you know that? Like, where do you get that from? Like, how do you know that? I don't understand. It was one of those instances where I'm just like, I think they're watching too much porn, man. I was getting those vibes. I was like, really? Okay. I'm trying to find I just realized, I'm sorry, the Handmaid May thing, I think there's way more they add than just, like, add a paragraph about the video sequel. It's this whole thing, I guess, about, like, the it was just a lot of fluff. I think it was just like some sources have subsequently filed the only publicly extant episode as the 11th TV episode, a victimless confusion liable to continue now that the series more easily available. It doesn't really say that much else. It also describes it, like it gives it the synopsis, basically. That's why it's so long. I was scrolling through it, and I'm like, why is it that long? Right. They also add, I don't think I added it here, but they also add, like, compare with these other things. I'm going to put that in. Yeah, compare with X and Y, whatever. Yeah, I'm only looking... Dazaki admitted that he only did the Hamtaro movies because he wasn't getting consistent work. At least he's honest. Too bad. Any reason why Dazaki wasn't getting consistent work? People weren't hiring him. Sadly, he started getting offers in 2009, right before he got sick. I'm glad to know they're experts on all genres of it. Yeah, on all genres of porn. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense with Dazaki of why his stuff ended up getting a lot more sporadic. I have a feeling that he just couldn't adapt as well to the new production model, like the system with, like, when it comes to, like, and I mean, but like, how different could it have really been? I guess I don't know. Like having a struggle with the transition between cell animation and digital. You know, it's not like he's an animator, but like maybe something about that. I don't know. But he did do Snow Queen, and I hear that's okay. But then yeah, that's too bad. Okay. More no. Alright. Happy Lesson. They added more synopsis. They also talked about the 2002 TV version and 2004 video spin-off. Was this the one where it's like, it was pathetically small of an article, and then like the rest of, and then like the new edition is like, oh, like they just kind of, it felt like they kind of just, yeah, look at this. That's incredible. Sure, I actually point to it. Yeah, this one right here. Like, see the other articles, right? And kind of how kind of substantial they are. And then there's Happy Lesson right here. It's just that. It's one of the small... And I've been really wanting to try to identify these articles as, like, the really, really tiny ones. Just as an interesting... I don't know. I don't know what I would fully say about it, but, yeah. But, like, the original is just... All they say about this OVA thing. Predictable classroom hijinks based on the Dreamcast game in which a group of female teachers must nurture a group of female students. And then... Yeah, let me just... I don't know if I can... Yeah. It's honestly not even... Oh my god. It actually gives you a perspective. Oh? There we go. And then... There we go. I usually do this. But, like... You can even tell here, kind of just, like... In the grand scheme of things, is also... It's not, like, the hugest article or whatever. But, like, this unhighlighted part was all of the previous article. This was all it was earlier. It's like, are you kidding me? And then, like, the rest, I was like, okay, they added all this other stuff. While dwelling at the house of a shy Japanese boy who plays the Tenchi Muyo role in this harem comedy, catching the zeitgeist of foreign attention of early moe, the story jumped to a TV version, and yeah, they just kind of made it more substantial. I thought that was interesting. Harbor Lights. This is another one that I was like, oh, what the fuck? Harbor Lights, they changed in the first edition, not to be confused with Fancy Lala, to, in the third edition, a prequel of sorts to Fancy Lala. So they were, like, insisting that it's nothing to do with Fancy Lala in the first edition, and then it turns out it's a prequel to Fancy Lala. Crazy. And I actually put it in the odd choices They didn't know it was a spin-off of Fancy Lala, and yet they didn't remove this snide comment in the first edition about why it never came back for a repeat performance. Let me read the first edition of Harbor Lights. 11-year-old Miho wants to be a fashion designer and is eager to make a dress for her little sister Shuri to help her with the Dancing Queen competition. When Miho's stupid aunt ruins the dress, the fairies of Fanland hear her prayer and transform her into the 16-year-old Lala, a top designer. And in the end, it was all a dream. Yeah, spoilers. A cop-out that probably helps to explain why this attempt to create a new magical girl in the tradition of Creamy Mommy never came back for a repeat performance, not to be confused with Fancy Lala. Except it is a prequel to Fancy Lala. And it's like, oh, that explains why it never came back. Like, yeah, sure, you can criticize it for having all a dream cop-out ending, like, sure. But, like, you didn't reword the article at all. All they did was change it to be like, actually, they didn't say actually, it's just, nothing in that article has changed except a prequel of sorts to Fancy Lala. Like, they put in, like, helps to explain why this attempt to create a new magical girl in the tradition of Creamy Mommy never came back for a repeat performance. Because it's a prequel! Like, do you know what I mean? Isn't that so fucking weird? When it comes to 2000s Dazaki, I think people were just look for new directors and new styles. For comparison, Watanabe didn't get as much work now compared to a few years ago. Doesn't get as much work now compared to a few years ago. I guess. Or maybe, I don't know. It depends. If Dazaki was looking and he just wasn't getting work, then that's one thing. But if, like, Watanabe just isn't, you know... I imagine he's super... Like, isn't... he just recently did the Blade Runner thing, I think. I think it's just more like he's, you know, finding himself occupied with stuff. Although I get it. It's like his stuff is... It's a little more sporadic, I suppose. There was that whole period. That was that period between 98 and 2006 where I'm not even sure what he did. Maybe he did a short or something, but that was a pretty long stretch. I do feel like his digital work suffers stylistically. I haven't seen much other than the Key movies, so I thought it might just be staff or budget. It could be. Watanabe is still making new stuff. He just always seems to take a couple years between productions. Might be a bit of both, but the Air movie does have some beautiful visuals. Not as good as TV series, but still good. What I mean is if you compare his older stuff to his newer stuff, you'll notice long stretches of time where he does nothing, where he used to work on smaller projects back then. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So that was ridiculous, Harbor Lights. Like, okay. Weird. They moved it and changed Haridoki Tokidoki Buta to Tokyo Pig. They just put it in the T section in the third edition instead of the H. Harmageddon, all they did was add a little line about the 2002 TV remake. Hattori the Ninja, this is a weird... I don't know what they're referring to. Like, the way they wrote this was just kind of like, huh? Yeah, let me just read in the third edition because that's where this line comes up. Hattori the Ninja. Okay. Hattori, the lead character in this long-running work from Doraemon creator Fujiko Fujio, also appears in an anime movie, Hattori and the War of the Little Ninja Village, directed by Shinichi Suzuki, in which the evil Dr. Mekamaru, wishing to be the best ninja in the world, kidnaps Hattori's parents, leaving the little assassin and his friends to save the world. He teamed up with Perman for a movie. Like, that's all they say. He teamed up with Perman for a movie. And, like, are you referring to the movie you just talked about? Or are you referring to Perman? So I'll click on Perman. It looks like there's multiple movies. So the 54-episode show, 2 stories per episode. And then there's some oh, gosh. Then the second TV series is 15 minutes, 526 episodes. Wow. And then another movie. A couple movies. Yeah, he had 2 crossovers with Hattori the Ninja. So, like, that's what that makes sense, and there's one thing. But, like, the wording in that was weird. He teamed up with Perman for a movie. I'm like, wait, what? Who's Perman? Heart Cocktail. Oh, my God. There's a line in their Card Cocktail article. It's just so bad. Um, Added a bit about the one-shot video sequel in 2003. I know Ninja Hattori is huge in India to the point where they paid for a new anime to get made. Wow. Moved and changed Heartmark to Super Addictive. Changed the completely. I was like, okay. And it was one of those things where it's listed as Super Addictive in the blur, in like the AKA, like some other names it goes by. And it's like, wait, but then why did you name it that in the Heartmark in the first place? Anyway, they added a little bit of stuff about from Heidi. They added a paragraph about its production, the TV ratings alongside Space Battleship Yamato, as well as some World Masterpiece Theater stuff. Really good article. It was I definitely put it as good as like this. The paragraph they added in the third edition is fantastic. Let me read that actually while I'm here. I just realized I had my door open the whole time. 1 second. Oh, go man. Yeah, so this Heidi article, really good. They also don't spoil anything, which is nice. They give some mid-series developments, but they don't spoil anything super late, which is nice because I'm in the middle of watching it. I need to finish watching Hard Cocktail. I need to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. Never heard of this show. Looks good. Oh yeah, Hard Cocktail. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Kenny talked about it. I was really happy he did. Yeah. So this is a paragraph they added for the third edition. Heidi began as an earnest creative experiment by animators at Zuyo, a classy animated series in a world of television corner cutting. Consequently, the Heidi production ran far over budget, with cell counts of up to 8,000 per episode, and an artistic attention to detail that made it visibly superior to its rivals. As Miyazaki bitterly recounted in his book Starting Point, the animators finished the production with palpable relief, only to discover that producers now expected them to output work of equivalent quality all the time. Quality won out, however, in the public arena, where Heidi ran against Space Battleship Yamato in the schedules, and drew an equal share of the TV ratings. Famously, the combined figures of Heidi and Yamato were so high that it was literally impossible for the audience to solely comprise Japanese children. Animators and producers came to understand that there was a bonus audience of interested adults who would sometimes tune in with their children. The success of Heidi would lead to a concerted effort to match it, in turn, a major influence on the rise of World Masterpiece Theater. I love that. That's so informative. That's really interesting. That's so additive. I don't know what to tell you. That's the shit I love and want more of. And I get you can't do it for every article, but like, this is the good shit. It's unsubbed on YouTube, missing some episodes though. Yeah. I saw the whole playlist and I saved it, and I never got around to watching it, even though I really want to. Of course they gush over the Miyazaki series as if it's the only other older anime that looks good. Yeah, they do call it the an early masterpiece of Isao Takahata. It's not a Miyazaki work. Miyazaki did work on it. A lot of layout, a lot of animation, a lot of storyboard. He did work on it. He's not co-director like he was with Lupin Part 1 with Takahata. Takahata's the director. So credit to that guy. Credit where it is due. But yeah, no. But like, I'm okay with them gassing up Heidi, because Heidi is really goated, actually. It's fantastic. It's definitely becoming one of my favorites. They added this little bit about Nettie's marvelous story to comparing it to some other similar children's shows. And they added about how Heidi was also screened in Spanish in Costa Rica, even though it never really made it to the United States. Of course it didn't. All the good shit, dude, I swear. Most of the good, a lot of the good shit. Anyway. Hello Kitty. They added this paragraph about how a spokesman asserted that Hello Kitty was not a cat. Did I put that in the odd choices? Because, yes, I did. I will get to that. That paragraph. Her need for embrace. They added a portion of how it was notable that it was flirting with live action content. Like, it would actually incorporate animation and live action, which was kind of a weird deal because the way they explain it is interesting. Actually, I'll read that. Her need. Yeah. This release is notable for being one of those rare erotic anime that flirts with live action content. Risky because much of the appeal of erotic anime seems founded on its audience's lack of access to real pornography. Cutaway sequences show real women going about their daily lives, such as taking a shower, of course, and confessing their sexual histories to add a note of realism. It's really interesting. I'm not interested, but in the anime itself, but that's cool to note, and I'm happy they added that. And then Here Comes Hanako. They added that, like, there's some other shows like Another and Alignment UU to the generation that grew up with it, like in the 90s. It's kind of what led to the popularization of some of those titles, like Ring. Honestly, they needed to hire more writers for these things. We would get more articles like this. 100% agree. I do think, I'm trying to ultimately make a better, more holistic video on the Encyclopedia than there is currently on YouTube, which is by Deadstock Paradise or Buster Beam. And he says, he does make one very valuable point that it's ridiculous how they expect to make a tome like this with just the two of them. You're naturally not going to be able to cover everything very adequately. Some things you definitely will. I do think they win. I do think they do a good job in some other places, but not all the time. And it ends up coming with a lot of inconsistencies and holes and stuff like that. But that's the thing. It's like they were open to more people contributing to their articles. They had I think I always mention this, Fred Patton with Giant Gorg wrote their article. And I wonder if some of the ones where they're completely rewritten, I do wonder if it's because somebody that they respect and trust reached out to them and were like, can I redo that article? And they said, sure. I can't confirm that, but I do have a feeling about that, some of those titles. There's no way to ultimately tell unless they say. I don't think the West would have accepted Heidi after that Super Bowl incident. My mom loves telling me that story. I don't know about the Super Bowl incident. I'm not sure what you mean. But Heidi? Can't wait for Sanrio spokesman to assert that jewel pets are in fact not pets. Yeah, we'll see. What Super Bowl incident? Also, wait, did they assert that anime for the people who have no access to live action? Way to show contempt. I think it's because they're saying that, like, they're assuming that young people are renting hentai. I guess they don't have access to. I don't know. I think they were trying to say that, like, they don't know they're not allowed into, like, the 18 plus, and then, like, I guess the hentai is not put in the 18 plus section. I kind of don't know what you mean. Yeah, but not what you mean, Victor. I don't know what they mean. That is fair, though, to write as an odd choice. I don't want to just say, ooh, I got them, or whatever, but... They interrupted a Super Bowl game to play a Heidi movie. It was so bad that they had to change broadcast regulations moving forward. What? Why would any... What? Who interrupted a Super Bowl game? Like, that has to be one particular broadcaster. Because, like, I mean, I don't know how the Super Bowl used to be aired, but it's always, at least how it is now, it's just NBC. They have the Super Bowl. So, like, maybe if more, earlier in time, where, like, the Super Bowl was being broadcast on multiple channels, and then, but, like, that seems so unheard of, to just interrupt the current programming, especially something that's live. Like, it doesn't even have, like, Super Bowl is obviously an egregious example because it's one of the highest watched events, but it's also just a general live event. Why would they just interrupt it to play any movie, never mind a Heidi movie? That's so weird. But I mean, I think it's more just that, like, it's the same reason none of us, that the West doesn't get any World Masterpiece Theater anime, for the most part. I mean, maybe there's an exception somewhere, but, like, From what I can remember or tell, I don't think we've ever gotten a Masterpiece Theater show here. No, it was the entire East Coast. There's a Wikipedia article about it. Okay. Damn. Anyway, some new additions. The Happy Prince from 1975. Harimogu Hari or Harley Spiny. Either one. I'm not because they Harley Spiny was like the English one that they chose from 1996. Haunted Sluts from 2000. All right. And then Heart of the Redbird from 1979. So I didn't read those articles yet. I'll have those for the 3rd edition. Just makes me glad I grew up in the 2000s. Yeah, fair. An early masterpiece. I'm just going to put that. Positives. Not too many positives. That's okay. Haunted Junction they liked. It was genuinely funny. Hilarious setups. Fine, fun parody. They had some little nitpicks to say about it, but not that much. It didn't take away from it being pretty positive, I think. And then Heidi, they say it's an early masterpiece by Hisao Takahata. Negative opinion. That's it. Negative opinions. Hanape Bazooka, a forgettable sex romp. Now look, I don't mean to go to bat for Hanape Bazooka. I've actually seen this. Surprisingly, it was I think it was like Steve Sakai was covering for one of Core's videos. I have to find it. But like, I want to read you the synopsis for this show in their words, in case you haven't, if you're not familiar with it, and just like tell me that this is a forgettable sex romp. Like, how could you think this is forgettable? Yeah, 92. So like, I remember Steve Sakai specifically covered this, and like his description of it was fucking so wild that I had to watch it. I ended up watching it with like him and some other people. I think the West did get most of World Masterpiece Theater. Anglosphere did not, because 70s programming was Japanophobic. Europe did. No, I'm saying the United States. To my knowledge, otherwise we would have access to their dubs, right? Like, there's absolutely no way we wouldn't have dubbed those shows. You know what I mean? I think there's a dub for World Masterpiece Theater anime about a South African boy with a pet squirrel thing. I think it was a Canadian dub. And there's a Canadian dub for Akagi no An. Like, there's a full English dub for Akagi no An, but that's not from the US. I don't think it was ever brought to the US. I don't think. I'm not looking it up right now. Hanape Bazooka. America did get a lot of anime brought over. They just never caught on unless they were called Voltron. No, they would usually say like certain ones, like it's a Hawaiian TV station. Like, I know Gutsy Frog was brought over in like California, but it's not even a matter of like never catching on, but just like only very, very limited broadcasts. You know what I mean? If it was on a major network like NBC airing Astro Boy, a lot more people would have seen it. You know what I mean? I think it's just a matter of the platform. Voltron, which isn't that great, boomers. All right, so let me just read the synopsis and let me know, like, is this a forgettable sex romp? Hapless teenager Hanape is masturbating in front of a porno film when two demons appear from his TV. The brusque Ophisto Bazooka and his sexy female sidekick Mephisto Dance reveal that they have been summoned once a millennium. That they can be summoned once a millennium by particular penile jerking. Charged with turning Hanape into the new messiah, they give him superhuman powers, allowing him to kill the local bullies. Bazooka, however, falls for Hanape's mother, while Dance develops an unhealthy interest in Hanape's sister. They pay off his father and turn his house into a party zone for devils, hoping to fob Hanape off with the power to charm any woman. Hanape is not convinced, chiefly because his powers backfire, and he is chased by the inhabitants of a geriatric ward and a transvestite. He also refuses to use the power on the girl he loves because compulsion would make the love they shared meaningless. Discovering that the girl he adores is sleeping with her professor to get good grades, a distraught Hanape takes his own life, and his soul is sent to the fairy of the world's forest to be judged. She determines that he is well loved by his acquaintances, and he is rescued at the last minute by Dance and taken back to Earth to be reincarnated. A forgettable sex romp. What are you talking about? Like, what? What happens? You know? I have to also put Hanapi Bazooka as because they do basically spoil the whole thing. Like, what do you mean? And then it's they're like, it compensates for its flimsiness by piling on the parodies. Split-second cameos exist for many other Nagai characters, including Kekko Kamen, Devilman, and Getter Robo. I don't even remember those cameos, to be perfectly honest with you. There is so much shit that happens in this OVA. It doesn't matter about the cameos, but you know it's Go Nagai because of the designs and like the tone of the story and stuff like that. But like, what the fuck? I know there's dubs for stuff like Mazinger and Go Shogun that aired in America that no one talks about. Yeah. I remember Core's video on this thing. To be fair, that OVA isn't a good adaptation of the manga. It's way too rushed and doesn't know how to adapt the humor. Oh, Hanapi Bazooka? Wow. Interesting. I mean, I still found it fucking wild. And the last thing is that it's forgettable. I disagree. And I usually don't be like, I disagree, but like, it's just so weird that they call it a forgettable sex romp after that synopsis that they themselves gave. Like, that's just nuts to me. Hanakyo Maid Team, the first series, this asterisk right here is it's denoting when they don't even just start with the synopsis, they give you their opinion immediately. The article starts as an insipid Tenchi Muyo clone. That is what they started with before they give you the synopsis. It's like, oh my god, the audacity. Just tell me what the fucking show is about, please, before you call it insipid. Like, just, you can call it insipid. Like, I mean, a little argument of whether they should have their opinions in here at all, but like, they've said way worse about other shows, but not at the very beginning. Come on. And then they also call it an Oedipally suspect farce. I guess fair. This is about like his mom dying and shit. I should point out that Go Nagai only did the art for the manga. It was written by Kazuo Koike, the guy who did Lone Wolf and Cub and Mad Bull. I see. Handmaid May. All they say is that an oh my goddess retread. Pretty much a negative, but not that harsh. Happy Lesson. Again, this is what they start the article with. Predictable classroom hijinks. It's like, what the hell? Harbor Lights. Ending a cop-out. Ending is a cop-out. Yeah. Ending is a cop-out that probably helps explain why it never came back. Even though it's a spin-off or prequel. Like, okay. And then Harmageddon, of course, they were negative about. An awkwardly paced and overlong film. And the asterisk, again, they start the article with that. With an awkwardly paced and overlong film. Like, alright. Okay. Crazy. I wonder, I think I ended up just kind of, I got distracted, I think, just reading, because I was also comparing it first and third. I don't know if I found any more negative things they say about it. There, I'll put trying and failing to cram a whole story into one movie. Am I misquoting them? Cram a complex text into the running time of a mere movie. No, not really. And as they do say, it nevertheless contained the seeds of the anime business we know it today. Alright. And there is more about Harmageddon we'll get to later. In Odd Choices. The every harem is a Tenchi Muyo clone argument is like someone saying that Guilty Gear is a Street Fighter clone because they both involve people fighting. I mean, yeah. basically it. And look, I was actually getting into it a little bit the other day when I was trying to compare Bokurano with Danganronpa. And like, I get that they're two different works. I'm not trying to like boil one down to the other. I'm not trying to say Bokurano's that because first Danganronpa came after Bokurano, but also like I wouldn't say that Danganronpa is a Bokurano clone because they're fundamentally doing different things, but the elements are still there, and I think more importantly the vibe and feeling that you want the audience to have when watching your work is tapping into similar sensibilities, right? If they're tapping into the similar feeling of like a big cast of characters, getting to know each one. Oh, I like that character. I don't know who that one is, and learning more about them, slowly getting picked off one by one, and the reactions the audience have of like, oh, that guy, how did that, seeing them bite the dust or what have you, and the mystery of it all, and this character that like is kind of orchestrating it or is like moderating it, at least, is very cheeky, and like it's got similar vibes. Is it Bokurano influenced by Ava? Haven't watched it, but that's the vibe I got from the trailer. I mean, when you say it's like, I guess one can draw a line to Ava, sure, because it's a mecha series that is trying to show that the mecha, it's bad, or just like, look at if these big robots were actually fighting in real life, thousands of people would die, and that would be a big deal for the pilots. Like, kind of like dark. I don't want to say deconstruction, but it is kind of like, whoa, mechas aren't even that cool, or something. I don't know. It's giving similar vibes, I guess. I'm gonna fight you on just putting Bokurano versus Danganronpa in the same sentence. I know. I was like, the way I worded it in my Discord was like, I have a very, very bad opinion right now, where I was like, I actually enjoy Danganronpa a lot more so far than Bokurano. I'm only 6 episodes into Bokurano, but it just doesn't. I'm not enjoying it in the same way. I think it's good. I think I'm sort of like, I appreciate it, and I think it's decently crafted so far, and it has my attention. I don't have it as a meh because I'm not like apathetic to it. It is keeping my attention. It's also just not like pissing me off in the same way, but it is like in places, but it's not like in satisfying ways so far. But like, I do just enjoy Danganronpa. It gives me similar vibes. Like I said, I think the two of them have similarities in the fact that they're tapping into similar portions of my brain as an audience member. You should know that the other work by the mangaka Narutaru. I know Narutaru. I haven't seen it, but not many people talk about that one. I know the poster for Narutaru is the girl with the gun in her head. It's like, sheesh. And it's like it kind of has like Digimon flavors, I think, right? It's subversive work, but also my deconstruction. Bokurano is a Morio Kito work who's a really doomer mangaka. Yeah, I heard that at least the Encyclopedia says that the manga was way darker, and the anime was like, can we not? Can we do some different stuff? And I guess the manga was not satisfied with that, and whatever. But hey, more people, you hear more about the anime these days than the manga, so I don't know what that tells you. I've seen that, not Bokurano. Both of his adaptations are toned down from the manga. Yeah. So Bokurano is basically just Zambot 3. It's got a lot more going on than Zambot 3. But it has similar sensibilities, I think, where like, hey, maybe the mech is not such a good thing. Maybe it can crush things very easily. Boku definitely has its gonzo crust. Also, like Subversion tend to work better when they surprise, which means they age faster than milk. I think that it's aged okay, honestly. I think it's good that they've separated. Honestly, I think it aged okay. I think the only thing that didn't age, unfortunately, is that a lot of the anime from the 2000s, like 07's Bokurano, a lot of them are stuck in like digital standard definition 480p. It's very crusty in terms of like the resolution. But in terms of the designs and how it moves, I think it's pretty sophisticated. I think it's still pretty good and holds up. Even the mechs. I like that the mechs are CG because it gives them that overworldly feeling to them. Director had a public meltdown on his blog. Yeah, where it's like he's like I think he basically said like if you don't like it, don't watch it. Sheesh. It's too bad. Anyway, where was I? Retread, Happy Lesson, Harbor Lights, Harmageddon, yeah. Okay. Into mixed. Hakenden. Original spouting. So they pretty much like I pretty much put this here because all their complaints are from the source material, but not really from the anime itself. Original is spouting pompous mock Chinese dialogue. Animation preferred modern hero. Like, the way they talk about the heroes and stuff, it's like, oh, the anime kind of like made it more accessible, basically. Novel had large number of starting points, occasionally confusing policy that remains in the anime. And then they also say that the dub for Hakenden is a polysyllabic mess. Okay. I figured that wasn't like wholly negative in the same way. It's in the Wikipedia article. 4-3 can be great in its own right. I don't know why you say that, because Bokurano's in 16:9. I don't know if you're referring to that or what. It's just the resolution is in 480. There is a lot of older anime that have gotten HD treatments that look a hell of a lot better. But like Nana was that way for a long time before it got remastered by Sentai. Kaiju was like that for a long time before it got remastered by Sentai. Now that I think about it, it'd be really cool if they got Bokurano. I don't think it ever got brought over to the US. I might be wrong about that. I've never looked. Let me look. Anime News Network. I'm just gonna look real quick. I know this has nothing to do with Encyclopedia. But like, it's really interesting because like this show is really well liked, and even the guys on Trash Taste are hyping this show up. Like they've brought it up more than twice, like a couple of times of just like, and all of them have watched it. It's pretty well liked, at least, and being in that stage of popularity is just interesting to me. DVD. Oh, in 2015, it did get brought over in 2015 by Discotheque. Interesting. Wow. I wonder how it did. Damn. I wonder how it did. I messed up. I got that Kaiju BD. So did I. Although apparently they're gonna dub it now, so I don't know if that was fully confirmed. I don't know. There's a lot of anime out there where BD was restored to the point that DVD was arguably better. Yeah, sure, but it's because of the suffering, which as an Urobucher enjoyer, yeah, I get that. I definitely get those vibes. When I looked up the mascot character for Bokurano, Dung Beetle or Kamimushi or something, Korimushi, whatever. He's pictured right next to Kyubi from Madoka Magica, so yeah, I can see the resemblance. I don't like him though. He annoys me because he fucking gaslights one of the characters, and I'm like, no, not necessary. You have enough going on as it is. You don't need to fucking do that. Just really frustrating. Yeah, spoilers for Hanape Bazooka, the whole thing. I'm gonna have to definitely do a list of the ones that they spoil. Basically, they describe the entire thing. Happy Humping Boing Boing. In the first edition, they kind of spoil it. Harbor Lights, it was all a dream. And Harmageddon, the whole thing. Yeah, they pretty much describe all of Harmageddon. Again, I thought Heidi is a very good article. I love the paragraph that they added. Hello Kitty, I actually thought it was a decent article. I actually really like their approach here, where they didn't bloat it like they do with some of their other articles, where like they're listing everything that came out of the franchise. They say a complete rundown of her screen appearances, including all the compilations and recombinations of the last 21 years, would require substantially more space than this book allows. But these are the highlights of her anime resume. I really appreciate that. especially because it ends up feeling like a curation and kind of like the most significant works for Hello Kitty in particular. I just think that's really tactful, and I really appreciated that restraint. I wish you didn't pad some of these articles the same way, but what can you do? From reading it, I did think there was also a lot of restraint in the cynicism for like how corporate this character is. Famously, they really don't give that much cynicism about her being a brand. There's a little bit here and there though. The other outbreaks of the kitty virus, a little snark here and there, but really not that bad comparatively. Sailor Moon is getting new full season BD sets. I'm excited. Hopefully they fix some of the issues I heard about the old BDs. Yeah, that was a really big deal. Like A&N had Zach Birchie grilled the head, whoever the head was at the time, and my boss was talking about it with me a little bit too, and he's like, that was a really ugly situation. And they did not do a good job. So that's great that they the time has passed. Those old ones were in 2014. So hopefully they do better with these next ones. Yes, and QB does not gaslight anyone. I haven't seen the show in like a decade, so I'm sure he does. And I wouldn't have liked it there either. I'm not like a big fan of Madoka Magica or anything. But like I have to remember, it's also been a long time since I've seen Danganronpa, but like Monokuma does do a lot of snark, and he's present. But in terms of him physically manifesting to one of the characters and then like coercing them into doing something, I don't think that happens that much in Danganronpa. Maybe it does, but like usually he doesn't. I like that, like with the premise of that show, or that game really. It can be days, or like a long time before somebody kills somebody. Whereas this, with Bokurano, there's a hard time limit. There's a very hard and fast, but it's complicating it in other ways that make it kind of interesting, but also frustrating. But I have to watch more. He just gets strangled by Ultraman. Man, I bought tons from my local Japantown, and now you gotta know what makes Blu-ray quality. Yeah, watch Magica Record 3. Not sure. Yeah. And here's some ones that I'm now interested in. At least I think so. Let's go check them out. It's time to do this old song and dance again. Okay. I just want to put I'll put it over here for now. All right. Haunted Junction. They were very positive about this one, and I just liked how they described it. Aw, that looks like a fun time. Very few people have seen it, too. Pretty positive ratings. Very 90s. Looks like a good time, though. Only 12 episodes, too. That's cool. Let me just read the synopsis to you guys. High school with spiritual beings and a principal whose hobby is collecting occult paraphernalia. The school has the prophecy-chosen members of the Holy Student Council to protect it. These students have problems of their own. Haruto, the president, has a way of summoning spirits and would resign from his duty for a normal life if it weren't for the principal. Ryota, the next member, is good at being possessed and has something for the Hanako. The last member is Asahina, who is a master of exorcism and is attracted to small boys. Unfortunately, in the anime encyclopedia, they do call her a Shotokan. Unfortunately, these three are in charge of keeping the school in line and defending the world from supernatural beings, and the mission brings them through wacky predicaments. What this summary doesn't mention, that I kind of like, is kind of interesting, is that, So the blue-haired character is like a Buddhist. The yellow, blonde is like kind of representing Christianity, and you can tell with the cross there. And then the red-hair girl is like Shintoism. So it's kind of like three different spiritualities. It's kind of interesting. I don't know, it just seems like a fun time. Let's see some people's thoughts. Monokuma feels way too aggressively hyper while not actually forcing anyone's hand. Exactly! I really like that. He doesn't force anybody's fucking hand. But he's a really interesting, like, presence. I have thoughts on Danganronpa and its sequels, and I'd have to save it for when I'm home. Yeah, fair. I think Danganronpa revels in its own chaos in a way that's fun and enjoyable, whereas Bokurano wallows in its own misery. They're just aiming for different experiences. I definitely agree. And I'm just vocalizing my preference for one or the other. I like that Danganronpa's premise is predicated on choice, on like the characters have to choose to kill each other, you know, and also it's upon them to save themselves in their predicament. Like once somebody's killed, they have to have a trial and figure out who it is. Otherwise, they'll all die. So like there's a and that also encourages like teamwork, right? And like a collaboration. There's nothing in Bokurano's premise or in the 6 episodes I've seen so far where it makes sense for them to like figure things out for themselves. You know, like they don't really. How much do they really have to talk to each other? Like a lot of them are just loners that have done very little with the rest of the group so far. And then like it's completely compulsory. There's nothing around it. And again, maybe something interesting to explore that, but so far I'm not having a great time in that exploration so far. You know, Danganronpa was supposed to be a much darker, and Monokuma was supposed to be a Joker-like sadist. It was toned down to lower the CER rating. That makes sense, and that's fair. But I also think that's a good choice. Because, like, you know, I like how the kind of, like, it's a dark premise, inherently, but the characters are so colorful and lively, and the premise is, the way it's executed is so colorful and fun. You know, it's a really interesting tug and pull. Oh, for sure, but Danganronpa isn't my taste since it's, like, too lull random horny before pulling despair like a Kingdom Hearts monologue. Yeah, I totally get that. I'm just, like, in the prospect of, like, fun and big emotions. Whether that's, like, you know, despair or comedy or anything like that. You know, maybe in Bokus Mono there's actual chemistry. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't played the Danganronpa games. I just have a friend who loves them. All right, let's check out some other ones. So funny enough, I actually was interested in Hanaukyo Maid Team. And I did look this up first before, like... So this is the one that I just like that this is really interesting because this was a first series done by Studio Moe. Not a very well-liked studio. And then it was remade. That's a sequel. This is an alternate version, La Verite. And this is the alternate, and like the main character has different hair. It is more liked on Mal, and the people in here is like, you know, 8, 10, 8, 6, whereas the original version has 5, 5, 6, 9, 4. Not very, you know. So I think the Anime Encyclopedia is consistent at least, which is nice. Let me just double check that this doesn't have. Yeah, it's fine. Let me just, yeah. So like, I get it. It's maids. I get it. Of course, it's insipid to them, but like, I just like the idea that like only a couple years later they actually completely remade it. I wonder if I think the Encyclopedia did say it was also more faithful to the manga, which is interesting. Yeah. That's cool. So I don't know. Despite their negative impressions on it, I think that makes it interesting to me that there's an anime like that. Chokesei ni Nariso. Oh yeah, of course. Let's see if Super Addictive comes up. No. All right. Nuclear option. Chokesei ni Nariso. There it is. That looks really cute. What made me interested in this? I think I just like their synopsis. Let me read it. Let me see. Where would it be? Heartmark. Yeah. Idol singer Nagisa Shiratori disguises herself as a boy to attend school, hoping to prove her prowess at fighting and gain applicants for her father's undersubscribed martial arts school, based on a manga in Nakiyoshi magazine by Anzu Narayan. Not too much else, but like I just like that premise. I think it's really cute. Like this little idol girl, disguises herself as a boy to attend a martial arts school. It just seems like a fun time to me. Let me read this one here. Singing idol continually badgered by her father to find new disciples for the family dojo. In an attempt to gain free time as a normal kid, she cuts her hair and cross-dresses as a high school boy. Otori Nagisa enrolls in a rundown school, falling in love with a rival school's gang leader, Nosaka Akira. She soon finds out Nosaka-kun is a fan of Nagisa, the idol. Keeping up the charade, they manage to sneak time together. Rivals for Nagisa's affection, both their dojo-running fathers, as well as martial artist animals, and an up-and-coming idol, conspire to make their lives as complicated as possible. That sounds like a really fun time. And I like the designs. Who directed it? I don't know the designs, too. Not too much about it. Toshio Sasaki. Character design. Not too much. At least stuff I haven't seen. Okay. Still active. It's pretty cool. And then the director. Okay. This was only his second directing position. He just kind of came out the gate as a director. This is as far as we know. There's not a lot of like kind of. Oh, nice. Done a lot of One Piece. Wow, a lot of Hikaru no Go. That's nice. I was director for Sayuki Gunlock. Okay. Still active though. Took a long period of hiatus though. Suddenly directed a Surajima movie or special. And back to okay. Neat. I just really like that. Read the chat, which has gone up a lot. I don't know. I feel like Danganronpa is a hot topic paint job over the death game genre that I saw a lot of back in the 2000s. Dude, Hot Topic's great. Pink Blood? Fuck yeah. The only VN series I've played is Ace Attorney. Didn't Moe do that cosplayer series everyone hates? Yes. Imagine not liking Moe. English Tiles is, I'll make a habit of it. Okay. That's so weird. Wait, really? Yeah, you're right. I just realized that. That's so weird. Why do they call it super addictive or heart mark? I don't get it. Chokusei ni Naruto is a lot of fun. Oh, you've seen it, Hazel? Hell yeah. I see Chiba Usa become an idol singer where she grew up. This sounds like a good time. Or in Host Club The Fighting. Dude, don't get me started. I actually fucking watched this other show. What is it? Boys Beat Boys, I think. I wanted to like this show so fucking bad, cause that's a girl and surrounded by boy. Like that's great. But then each episode is only like 8 minutes, and very very little happens. And also, it's really not that well animated. It was such a chore. I was so disappointed. Oh well. Heart Colored Killer Ticket. Yeah, so this one, like, I'm not finding this on fucking Mal. I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna find it this way. Come on. Mal! There we go. Satsujin Kipuo wa Hot Iro. I believe this was on. No, I found this on Anime Bytes, so this does exist at least. Very few people have seen it. I just like their description of it. Let me find it. Yeah. A soft-boiled detective comedy based on a series of young adult novels by Hiroyasu Yamaura, in which sweet, unassuming bullying victim Seiko is suspended from school and takes the opportunity to go to Nagasaki, where she becomes embroiled in a murder mystery, apparently on a train. About a murder on a train. Hell yeah. In keeping with the original's focus on the female market, sleuthing a la Young Kidaichi Files becomes less important in the story than cats and ghosts. Oh, that sounds like a fun time. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested. I got one review. Cool. Yeah. So that was the other one. I was like, by reading this, all these synopses and stuff, I'm like, oh, that piques my interest. Hi, Shapes. Good to see you, Glowworm. A shame the only video available for it looks awful. So it's not completely subbed. It's also not completely subbed, but still worth checking out. Oh, really? God damn it. I'd have to... I want to check Anime Bites real quick. I just want to see the quality. I'm just going to look for... Chokusei Minari, so... Okay. Oh, VHS AVI. You gotta be kidding me. No screenshots. Alright, let's just Google it. Google images it. Yep, search Google. Let me put this on the screen, on stream at least. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no! Oh, that looks so good! No! No, you've got to be kidding me! Oh no! You have got to be kidding me. Life is not fair. It's just not fair. That's some US girl cosplaying as her. That's nuts. That's nuts. You're nuts. You're cool, but you're nuts. God damn it. I can't believe... Oh. It just looks like fun, and then why is it in bad quality? No. It's the worst. Saite. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. And then I have her... They did make me interested in H2 just by reading the synopsis. How it's like the 4 of them, and each of them have a different thing going on. I don't know. And I know it's an Adachi, so that's pretty cool. Alright, finally into odd choices. Let me pull this back up. Damn, I missed last week's stream, which would have had Gurren Lagann unless it's last Tengen Toppa. It did have Gurren Lagann last week, and you can watch the VOD. Just go check out the VOD. I'm sorry, it's not time-stamped. It's towards the end mostly where I talk about Gurren Lagann, though. So around there. Off tangent. But now I'm remembering that 12 Heart Princess project that's taken 7 years to start getting made, and only has 2 episodes even subbed. Dang. Your first Otome harem? No, it's not my first Otome harem, actually. I saw Nor 9 and Asobasi or something. Fucking the Greek god one. What is it? Not Asobase. Asobi. Kamigami no Asobi. Kamigami no Asobi. I saw that as well. Oh, and I also saw Code Realize. I saw a ton of Otome shit. That one period of time. Didn't like pretty much any of them. Very boring. Oh, okay, nice. Why am I getting Cypher vibes from this? It's not an AB IRC, only on Nya. Oh, it is. It's very bright and hard to see what's going on at times. My friend told me it looks like it was dipped in white paint. You've got to be kidding me. No. Man, I'll watch it unsubbed if I have to. I would too. It's still good. You should watch it anyway. I will. You know, like all of this stuff that's like the now interested in. I don't know when I'll watch any of them. But like, that one's definitely higher up there. I swear. That premise is just too good. And it looks very cute. 2/3 are subbed, so you can still have a great time. That's like 20 episodes. Are they good subs, though? I was looking at some of those screenshots. Those are hard coded. Those are ancient. I hope those are good subs. I wouldn't have a good time otherwise. I might just watch it raw. I don't know. Oh god, it sucks. I'll probably watch the whole VOD. More Shabe's goodness is never a bad thing. Thanks, Kyotsu. I appreciate it. Thanks, good to know. Alright. Odd choices. I was gonna say bad. No, they're just odd, I swear. Hamtaro. Yeah, okay, so I'm just trying to, like, document a little more of, like, their inserting themselves and, like, being a little more fourth wall breaky. It was similarly huge at the box office, although the authors feel that they should point out that all three were sharing double bills with each year's Godzilla movie. Hey, that's interesting, and that's really good for you to mention. But why do you have to, like, the authors feel like they should point out? Just say that, like, although to be fair, you know, just say that. Just give the information, please. Please. Stop inserting yourself. This isn't YouTube. Watch the video now. I don't know. Is it over? Is it is it full? I was going to say full adaptation, but I know it's an original show. At least I think it is, right? But I don't know if it's, like, done. Hump Hump Boing Boing. Right, how do you know that? That was so dumb. Harbor Lights, I did go over that as well. Why it never came back for... it's a spin-off of Fancy Lala. That's why it never came back. Harmageddon. Yeah, here's the one. These two different quotes. And I think we've talked about this before, because I think somebody... I won't go over this too quick. I won't go over this for too long, because I do think somebody asked me to read the Harmageddon article. Because this sounded very familiar when I read this. Interesting choice from the animators, who concentrate on drawing high-quality still images at the expense of actual animation and lip sync. Two things. Firstly, Harmageddon, Genma Tyson, the one with the Kanada dragon, is the one where it has an interesting choice from the animators, concentrate on drawing high-quality still images than at the expense of actual animation. You're seriously talking about Genma fucking Tyson for that. Look, I get it's a long movie, and I'm not saying all of it looks like the fucking Kanada, but, like, why say this in the presence of this movie that has good animation, very iconic and groundbreaking animation, might I add? That's so weird. But the other point, what the fuck's wrong with drawing high quality still images? Sorry, I wasn't really aiming the camera that often. But, like, what the fuck's the problem with that? I wish some anime were like that. God. God, some of these still... Like, I get it's animated medium, but, like, there's a lot of drawing involved. And sometimes, like, a really good still, like, of a face, that leaves a really good impact. It doesn't have to be animated, even. It honestly doesn't. I think it's just way too narrow-minded and just trying to find a cheap jab at this movie that they don't like. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you have to undermine it like that? That's a good... I wish more anime did that. That were, like, actually gave a shit about the still images and, like, high quality. Made sure that they were actually well polished. So weird. And then... Otomo was so disillusioned by his experience of working in Harmageddon that he resolved to do things differently with Akira. And this is the one that sounded very familiar. Very, very familiar. Because I remember we were, like, disagreeing. Because I was under the impression that Otomo liked his experience on Harmageddon. And, in fact, wanted to recreate it with Akira. Like, that's a completely different take. Like, I don't know which is true. I'm wondering. I would like, you know, bringing this up, if in a video, I would want to look up the source. I would definitely try to find anywhere if Otomo mentions Harmageddon and talks about it. I'd want to see it, like, what is the source of them saying he's disillusioned by it. What's the truth? I'm okay if this is the truth. Like, that's fine. But, like... You know, because I'm not, like, a big defender of Harmageddon or something. I think I have it as a meh on... Or I have it as a good. I don't remember. I actually do have it as a good, and I remember... I really could go either way with Genma Tyson, because I get it. The story is kind of boring. and it is very long, and goes in places that doesn't quite make sense or not that compelling. But it's a very gorgeous movie. It's really impressive. Very visually arresting. So I ended up ultimately like kind of swaying the other way, especially because of the Cotton Dragon. Like, that's incredible. But yeah. Yeah, it finished in 2019. Oh, well then, perhaps. I'm not sure. There's a lot of other things that are are a priority for me right now. Hi, just hopping in from Hazel's new vid. Pretty good if you haven't seen it. I want to watch it for digest. She just re-uploaded it. Because there's new information, and I'm like, come on. It's just kind of like a continuing thing with Hazel. I think it seems, where like the thing with the Aiken thing, where like the guy who she cites is like, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm the guy that translated that. It's just a pen name or whatever. And she's like, oh, or like he just corrects something that is just kind of like a big glaring thing. So when she said it was like, oh, I've covered new information since the video came out, I'm like, I see. And it's like, I was also like happy. I was gonna make a mention when I put it on digest that like, if I talk about it on digest, where like, oh, it's actually a video that's less than an hour long. Not anymore. She added more to it, and now it's over an hour. It's like, great. Not that that's a bad thing. I like an hour. I like big anime videos, but still. Don't mind telling me where we're at on the book. Yeah, it's it should be in the stream title, but we're in H to Hello Kitty, in that range, in the first edition. Yeah, all 5 seasons wrap up unless you want the mobile game for extra story. Okay. Like, Discotheque is doing the official sub since up to season 3. Nice. That was me and I said this last time. They mixed up the movie with the TV series. Okay. Gotcha. Also, hi. People took that 4chan quality meme to heart. I'm not sure which one you mean. Sorry if it's, like, referencing from something a while ago. How you been, Mosweeb? Yep, Harmageddon was his inspiration for doing Akira. Yeah, I'd have to look at the direct source. I believe you, but I'd have to look. Iblar Jakan is a great anime short film made of stills set to music. Do they have it in the book? Iblar Jakan? Let's find out. I'm going to search the 3rd edition. Iblard Jikan. Yes. They have it as Iblard time. Makes sense. Jikan is Japanese for time, so I guess that makes sense. They do have Iblard time. Okay, yeah, they liked it. The fantasy realm of Iblard, created by Inoue, is explored through digitally manipulated shots of his fantasy paintings, so that trees and grass move in the wind, people walk, and the scenery unfolds around the viewer, drawing him or her into this other world. There's no dialogue, just soft, relaxing music. This is a beautifully made piece of moving art, but its elegance can't completely mask the echo of those old screensavers showing a tank full of tropical fish. Iblard looks like an interesting piece. Iblard looks like an interesting place. It deserves to be a setting for stories, not a piece of extremely high-end wallpaper. So a little different. I kind of expected that. But I think it's because they actually, it's like, oh, it actually moves. Which kind of goes into that little point I made a long time ago about one of Kenny's videos when he's talking about Twinkle Norma Rock Me. Where it's like, there's fucking plenty of anime that are fucking perfect at that. They have terrible story, they have terrible voice acting, they have terrible music, they have terrible everything else. But at least it moves. I was like, oh my god, killed it. And that was like off script. Hi there. I'm doing well. I'm planning on watching Candy Candy tonight with my parents to see if they watched as kids. Interesting investigation. Just put it in front of them. I need to see Candy Candy. Yeah. I heard that was popular in Spanish-speaking territories. Did you grow up there? The wiki editing urge. Yeah. The Gamma Tyson TV series looks like crap, which they double checked before accidentally crapping on the movie like that. No, they were specifically talking about the movie because they start the article with an overly long, with like an awkwardly paced and overlong film. They don't like it. They're also definitely talking about the movie because the TV series is from 2002, and they don't mention it in the first edition, but they have all of that other stuff talking about like Otomo was gonna was so bummed about the fucking, like, they have all that in this first edition, and they don't mention the TV series at all. Like, I'm double checking. Yeah. Designer Otomo was so disillusioned by his experience of working on Harmageddon that he resolved to do things differently 5 years later with Akira. And they say that in the first edition before the TV series came out. Really, then it's even weirder. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I really like old anime and found out where I got anime interest from. Nice. Did they mention that Iblar Jakan is by Ghibli? Probably not. I didn't see it. Let me see. Iblar Jakan. Yeah, actually, yeah, produced by Studio Ghibli. And they don't mention it Ghibli at all in their article itself. Interesting. I had no idea. I had actually seen Iblar Jakan. Iblar Jakan was made by Ghibli. All the art was made by the guy who made the fantasy sequences in Whisper of the Heart. Ah, okay. Nice. I personally credit Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho for getting me interested in old anime. I think it would have got me really into old anime, actually. If I was to give an answer, it'd be Mobile Suit Gundam, actually. Because I distinctly remember my friend in college bought Gundam The Origin, the manga, when it was coming out in hardcover in like, you know, late 2010s. Yeah, no, not early. Like 2014, like 2013, 2014 when it was starting to come out. And I loved the cover. I was like, whoa! And I'd seen Gundam around, but like, whoa, it's the original Gundam. And I was like starting to get more into anime and stuff. And so I'm like, wow. And I was like, opening it and like reading through some stuff. Like, this is crazy. And I'm like, what's this based on? And this is the original 1979 series. So I watched that. And that's where I got started on that. I think that was my first, like, 70s, I think. Well, Lupin was close. Lupin's 1980. Cagliostro's 1980. I'd seen that, but and also Rose of Versailles was also very recent. I remember watching it around the same time, actually, as Gundam. I don't remember why. I think it was just because I saw a lot of people talking really high praise about it. I'm like, oh, I should check it out. I think it was like Bakashev too, actually. He mentioned his review, I think, probably inspired me to watch it. Cool. Yeah. Still can't believe you defended Twinkle Nora Rock Me. Yeah. You mad? I watched it with I mean, you probably saw it on Digest, but I watched it with Tiabu, and I liked how even-handed he was, and I really enjoyed that experience. It's you know, not the greatest thing ever for sure, but like, I think coming at it from a sympathetic, positive point of view, I think you end up enjoying it. I think it's very interesting. Oh yeah, I also loved watching Lupin and Conan on Adult Swim as a kid. Nice. Okay. Heart Cocktail. This is so... It was like the worst hit. You know, there's some bits of this encyclopedia where you read it and I'm like, God, what am I doing this for? I was like really disillusioned when I read this. Heart Cocktail. Each vignette is designed to tell a simple love story in no more time than it would take to smoke a cigarette. The tobacco analogy may sound strange in these politically correct times, but it is better than the alternative, remembering that such short manga stories are actually designed to take no longer to read than the average dump. It's so... Like, the first thing... This is a joke. You're trying to make a joke, right? I'm not laughing, by the way. I don't know if you could. I'm kind of uncomfortably laughing in places. Like, that's so bad. That's so disrespectful. Like, I don't know what you're doing here. Get out. You know what I mean? If that's the attitude you're going to bring it to it. For Heart Cocktail, of all things, too, which was so frustrating. I don't know if you guys have seen Heart Cocktail. But, like, this looks so fucking charming. I'm going to play Kenny's video on it. Because he edits it really well. I don't want to just, like, play an episode of it, you know? Yeah, and it's done really well. Look at that. Isn't that great? He's such a wizard, man. That did really well. He's such a fucking wizard, dude. I'm going to just, like, have it on mute, basically. This is just, like... It's so frustrating to just, like... I get that they're not really shitting on... dumping. They're not really dumping on Heart Cocktail specifically. They're really dumping on, like, short manga stories. But, like... I just don't... Like, the people that, like, are going to have that attitude... I don't want them to be... You know what I mean? I don't really care if they're not really referring to Heart. I'm not taking this as an attack on this show. But just, like... The attitude is so frustrating. It may sound strange in these politically correct times. I don't think the idea of... the idea of telling a simple love story in no more time than it would take to smoke a cigarette, I think that's kind of like of the time and kind of romantic and kind of interesting. Like, the reason cigarettes were such a pop, like, they were cool. They're awful for your health and disgusting, but like the orifice and like the handling of them and the characters that would smoke, they are inherently a cool item. They have depicted as cool, and it's just like, that's, I don't know. I find that really, I liked that about, like, hearing about Heart Cocktail and, like, that philosophy by the author is interesting. And to just kind of, like, crumple that up of just, like, oh, it may sound strange, the tobacco analogy. Like, come on. But then, like, it's better than the alternative, remembering that such short manga stories are actually designed, like, they put it in italics, actually... Like, enforcing that, they're actually designed to take no longer to read than the average dump. Like, it's so crude, and, like, I'm probably making a big deal out of this. I'm sorry. But, like, it's just really disheartening, you know? It's so disheartening. Pretty sure Cagliostro was December 79, so that counts as 70s. It's so annoying with Cagliostro because, yes, it's late December 79. But, like, so many other places do publish it as, like, 80. It's so annoying. I was already really into old films when I was getting into anime, so I just started watching old stuff not too long after getting into it. I think my first old anime was Macross, which I watched after watching Symphogear. Oh, interesting. I think Maison Ikkoku was the first pre-90s anime I watched. I can't remember. Just modernize it by saying that it's as quick as smoking a joint. I guess, you know, like, if that's how joints work. I don't know. It's just, like, really frustrating, you know? I really appreciated this Kenny video a lot. I was able to really adequately explore it and talk more extensively about it and give more information. It's so good. It's a really good video. Anywho. I'm probably making too big of a deal about that. I don't know. But, like... That really threw me for a loop, you know? Maybe I'm just too much of it. I don't know. I'm too sensitive. I don't know. It's not the attitude I want. That art style is nice. I agree, Glowworm. I feel like at this point it's just not... It's not just that they're trying to take pot shots. They're just actually going a little haywire from having to record so many anime. Most of which they just can't care for. I was thinking that too. I remember we've discussed this in previous live streams, where the sheer amount is probably what's making it so fatiguing. Like, to document every single harem show, I can totally understand why they would say, like, oh, it's another fucking one of these. Actually, Heavy, the one night next to this, they start the article as yet another boxing anime. There's not that many boxing anime, are there? Like maybe 15? And sure, that's kind of a lot, I guess. Compared to the thousands of anime out there. Like, what's your contempt with fucking boxing? I don't understand. It's so nice. Yeah, fair. And then there's another odd choice. Yeah, I wanted to mention that. I think this is actually a good one to end on, really. Because it's really, like, it's a very unique kind of mask-off moment, I think. So they added this paragraph at the end of the Hello Kitty article about how in 2014 there was a spokesperson that insisted that Hello Kitty was not a cat, but actually a British schoolgirl, briefly exposing fans all over the world to the kind of intricate and picky semantic micromanaging that periodically drives anime encyclopedists mad. We get such memos all the time about hair colors, release dates, spelling of characters' names, you name it. In other news, you are not reading an encyclopedia, but a small squirrel named Dave. So, in other news, you're not reading encyclopedia, a small squirrel named Dave. Very passive way to just rejecting the criticism and the micromanaging. Because, like, they put at the front of this book. Thankfully, I haven't repeated this point that many times. They've put at the front of this book, in the first edition, as well as probably the other editions. I don't own them. First edition, I have physical copy. First page, granted, not like front page or something like that, but it's in the little copy line here that, like, no one's gonna read except me. Obsessives that are gonna stream multiple hours of reading this book. I get it. I'm an obsessive. I'm a freak. But, like, right up there. We want to hear from you. Updates, corrections, comments. Please send all correspondence regarding this book to animeinfo@stonebridge.com. They asked for for corrections, and yet they're kind of like complaining about fans correcting them on names and stuff. And I get it. A lot of these fans, like they might be wrong. Or it's like a fan translation or something. I get it. And that's part of the reason why, like, some of the, like, I've memed on it a couple of times, but one of my policies here is just sort of like, don't worry about the misspellings or terminology and staff listing and what's absent and stuff, like little nitpicks like that, because I imagine there's a lot of them. But still, I think this quote of just like, yeah, we get that all the time, of like, it's not actually a cat. Oh, whatever, I think what we said earlier about, like, the sheer amount that they're working with, there's bound to be inaccuracies. I'm not blaming them for that, I just think the contempt that they're showing for fans here, of just like, ugh, we get that shit all the time. Some picky semantic micromanaging. You published a book, and you put in a contact for people to give corrections and updates. And yet when a fan is like, oh, by the way, this was not actually directed by this guy. Daichi did not direct Cardcaptor Sakura. You're going to call that picky semantic micromanaging? Where's the line? And I guess this is I am being a little defensive, I guess, because this, I've been recording all of these things, right? And it just shows me their attitude towards these things, towards this feedback I'm giving. I mean, maybe they're a little more, it's a little more intense than feedback. But that was weird. I also wanted to look up this note, because I was just like, that's so crazy. It's not a cat, and surprise, surprise, there is more nuance to it. Let me pull the over here, and then over here. So, Los Angeles Times, August 2014. This is probably what they're referring to. So the person speaking here is Christine Yano. She's an anthropologist at University of Hawaii who spent years studying the phenomenon that is Hello Kitty. She's the author of the book Pink Globalization, Hello Kitty's Trek Across the Pacific, published at Duke University. She says that Kitty's undeniable, expert. Literal Hello Kitty expert. Hello Kitty is not a cat. You read that right. When Yano was preparing her written texts for the exhibition at Japanese American National Museum, she says she described Kitty as a cat. I was corrected. Very firmly, she says. That's the one correction Sanrio made for my script for the show. Hello Kitty is not a cat. She's a cartoon character. She's a little girl. She is a friend. But she is not a cat. She's never depicted on all fours. She walks and sits like a two-legged creature. She does have a pet of her own, however, and it's called Charmy Kitty. I grew up with Hello Kitty, everything, and all I have to say is mind blown. Right? Because, like, it's so semantic. I get it. Where the encyclopedists, like, their reaction to it being so pedantic and semantic micromanaging, blah, 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 blah. But when you see Sanrio's logic, when you're coming at it from a sympathetic perspective instead of a pessimistic one, I get it. Because if you treat Hello Kitty as a cat, it does ignore kind of all the things that they've shaped this icon around as. If it was a cat, they would lean more into the cat-like features. But they don't. You know, I mean, she's a character. She definitely never... Oh, right here, right? Hello, Honey Cute. So that's a different character, and she has a pet called Charmy Kitty. And I think they want to separate that because, you know, I don't think they want Hello Kitty to be depicted as somebody's pet. She's a character. Because I think the idea with pet kind of comes with all these connotations and stuff. And so what I wanted to point out here is I think there is it's silly. It's very silly, but like, I think there's a nuance to what Sanrio is saying here. And so I think we should respect their creation with that nuance and take it for what it's worth, you know? And it's not, yeah, it's funny. It is funny that it's literally it's literally like a cat-shaped head or whatever. But like, I mean, I kind of get it. Because yeah, she's never depicted on all fours. She's a character. You know, it's different. Yeah, she's a friend, just not a cat. So I think there's a difference between like a friend and a pet. Hello Kitty is not somebody's pet. I think there is a difference. Not to say that pets can't be friends, of course. Yeah. Also, does Hello Kitty have a tail? Yes, she does. But you know, I just think that's really interesting. And I think that nuance is important. And if we kind of just erase the nuance and we just kind of like throw our hands up and like, oh, you're being semantic. You know, where's the line at that point? What point can we not be semantic and not think thoughtfully about art? Maybe I'm being hyperbolic there, right? I just think that's interesting. But the thing is, they don't have the bandwidth, I think is the word that I want to use. They don't have the bandwidth to debate that. They don't have the bandwidth for that nuance. Because it's fucking Hello Kitty, right? But if they were to treat that nuance with this property, that they should have nuance with everything. And you can't have nuance with everything because it requires time and effort. And there's only so much time and effort you're allowed to give as one person. So I'm reading I caught the tail end of Toonami with Naruto, DBZ, Teen Titans, but I got really into Speed Racer and ever got on Spanish TV. You ever watch Adult Swim back then? Because by '04 they aired some of the network's best anime. I wasn't old enough yet to catch Adult Swim aside from Family Guy and Robot Chicken. AK-47, Hello Kitty. Yeah, Hello Kitty rocking the AK, I see. I just taped the anime My parents were okay with it as long as I could handle it and made me happy. Nice. Also, I remember Robot Chicken freaking me out as a kid for some reason. I thought it was some kind of cursed snuff show. Yeah, so that's the extent of that session of the Anime Encyclopedia. I thought that was very interesting. I thought that episode had some really interesting, cool articles. Some kind of discussion pieces, I guess, to put it nicely. I also listed some other not foreign words, but like words I'd literally never heard of before, just to give the idea of like they're avoiding terminology like Japanese terminology, that whole thing, even though they don't. In certain articles they mention it, like senpai and other things like hikimori, but like the argon jargon, I think the ones this time was askance and fatuous. I've probably seen those words around somewhere, but let's see. Also, let's go Hello Kitty. Yeah. Askance, fatuous. I'd never seen those titles before. Those words. What do you call those words? What do you call those? Words? Yeah. I'll stay on for a little bit just to see, hang out. But we've done the extent of the reading today, which I'm pretty happy about. With the even the diatribes about like Danganronpa and shit. About halfway through H for the first dish, so this will be another 3 more sessions hopefully. Sorry, that's not whatever. Yeah, that excerpt you mentioned about Girl Who Leapt Through Time was genuinely interesting to me. I agree. I really like that perspective. I've never heard that before. I didn't even know that it was like a famous story that has been adapted multiple times, and that was like the only anime one. I love that. Oh, is it time for gussing about One Piece section of the stream? Good point, Hazel. So I am on a 2-month break from One Piece. I got to the time. So what happened was, we've been watching 3 episodes a day, and when we were right when we got to Thriller Bark, me and my roommate who've been watching One Piece with me, we both got sick. We're pretty sure it was COVID, but we never officially got tested positive. And then a few days after, I got tested negative. Because I'd been sick like a couple of days prior to that, and then like all of us were kind of sick at the same time on Sunday. So that Sunday, we watched a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and just kind of chilled. It was Easter Sunday, so we all just kind of chilled, hung out together, watched a lot of Dragon Ball, and we also watched the first 3 episodes of Thriller Bark together. Because one of my other roommates who's not watching One Piece with us, he really likes skeletons, and he'd be interested in the first episode that has Brooke in it, which is the first episode of Thriller Bark. So I wanted him to watch that with us, and so yeah. And we decided there, hey, let's just watch all of Thriller Bark for this week. So we did. And it lasted us 2 days. And then we were like, well, gotta watch more of it. So we watched more, and we watched all the way up to time skip 516. So I watched all of Sabbaty, Thriller Bark, Sabbaty, Impel Down, Angel Island, I guess you can count like, is that the name of the island? Bo Hancock, and Marineford. All of it. And now I'm waiting till June 21st to pick it back up where I'm supposed, because so I'm back on pace. I was supposed to have finished Marineford and get to time skip June 21st. And it's like, hey, we give a 2-month break from One Piece, and we get to, it's like a real life time skip with correlated with the time skip in the show. So that's what we're doing right now. But it was a good time. 3 months, 3 days, 2 months. Yeah, literally. True. Give us the deeds. Yeah, the director of House did a live action adaptation of Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Really? That's great. When you mentioned in Digest that you'd already seen 1015, it made me tear my heart out. I guess at least you won't have to worry about avoiding spoilers anymore. No, I mean, I've seen so much One Piece through osmosis on Twitter and shit. I literally read chapter 1044, which has the really big development. I read it when the chapter came out, because I know I'm just going to see art for it anyway, which I did. So I was like, may as well see it the way Oda wants me to see it in the manga first. And that's the only thing. But then, yeah, 10:15, you see clips, you see photos, you see shots of it regardless. And so, like, yeah, I just got really interested in what Roger had to say about it, because I really like Roger's perspective and his talk about One Piece. And so I watched it. I watched him watching it, and it has the visuals in the back faded, so and he doesn't get copyright or whatever. And it didn't have any sound, and I didn't see the subtitles. Sometimes he would say certain things, so I know what music track happens at the end of that episode, which I'm so bummed that I got spoiled on. But other than that, it will be somewhat of a fresh experience, and also it'll be months before I watch that episode. So, like, I don't know how much I'll remember it. You know, it'll be a long time before I get to that episode. So I'm not too bummed. So what did you think of Marineford? Funny enough, everyone loves that arc. It is widely considered the best arc. It is the first arc where me, as well as my roommate, I don't want to speak for him fully, but like, we both recognize that is the first arc where we've had problems with it. The first arc where we have something that is like, that wasn't so great, or like, I wish that we have issues with it. Literally every other One Piece arc, I have nothing bad to say. I'm not kidding you. Every single arc, the filler too, I have nothing bad to say. But the thing with Marineford, it has it's missing. It's a great arc. I still liked it. I still like One Piece a lot. I think it's a good arc, and I can understand why people love it so much. There's two things that are missing. And I'm sure if you've seen Marineford, you know what those two things are. I'll tell you. It's missing the comedy. The one joke in Marineford is Buggy and his whole crew adoring him and shit like that. And sometimes it's funny, but it's the same joke 15 or 20 times. It's the only joke in that entire arc. Am I exaggerating? I don't think I am. And you're like, what? Every other arc in One Piece was really funny. It had funny moments. A lot of funny moments. I've never laughed more often at an anime than One Piece. That's one of the biggest reasons I like the show. I love the show, actually. I love it. And it's like, oh, you couldn't have put a comedy in there. Yeah, I think you could have. Oda is really good at that. Water 7 has great comedy. And it's also a really serious arc. Same with Enies Lobby. Same with any arc that he does. There's plenty is a really balanced mix. And I love that. And it was not the case in Marineford. There's other things that are kind of wrong with it, but the other thing that's missing, and you would probably know what it is. It's the reason why I love One Piece so much. I love the Straw Hats. I love this crew and their dynamic with each other. We were just shocked at how goated One Piece is because of that dynamic, and they actually bond with each other. They seem like they're real friends. It completely it actually kind of retroactively makes these other shonen anime worse, because they're pitted as friends, but they're not really friends. In the same way that the Straw Hats are. Nothing comes close in that way. And it sucks that they're not there. It really, really sucks. And I get it. I get the logic. I get the need. I get it. That just makes it not as fun for me. I'm not enjoying the show as much if it doesn't have 8 of my favorite... 8 of my favorite characters that are usually always there. I'm sorry. And even Impel Down, it doesn't have the crew, but it still has comedy in it. What can I say? Let me read the chat. So you're almost caught up with the Toonami broadcast. Yes, I remember about that. Oh, I've seen 10:15. Unbelievably banging, I cried. Aren't you not caught up, Hazel? Are you caught up? Wait a minute. I thought you weren't. Whatever. I need to catch up and see what 10:15. Now is the worst time to be a One Piece fan and not caught up. I disagree. I think this is a fine play. I think any time is a good time to be a One Piece fan because it's a great show. I get what you're saying though. I think the actually worst time is when the show's ending. When like it gets to the end, you're not gonna hear the fucking end of it. You're not gonna fucking. There's no way you're not getting spoiled for that, unless you live under a fucking rock. So that's the worst time, I think. I've been enjoying rewatching Fishman Island on Toonami, mostly because my sister fell in love with Arc and is now a One Piece fan. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Marineford is missing the comedy because Oda was depressed at the time. That's too bad. That is too bad. I can still feel that way about it. It's impressive then, if he was depressed, that he was able to put together a really a really incredible piece of art. A really good arc. It just didn't, And I imagine he was depressed because he wasn't. I don't want to diagnose his depression or anything. I'm just saying, that is really brutal to split the crew up like that. I'm just saying. Most of those buggy scenes are anime original. Oh my god, that makes it worse. I could figure that too. I could probably figure that. That makes sense. I believe it. Also, hi Panda Man, sup? Yeah, man, dang. But I still liked it a lot, but it didn't have the elements that I like about One Piece. It had a lot of fighting, which is like not the thing I watch One Piece for. Like the action's fine, but like it's not nothing to write home about. I take the majority of Naruto's action scenes over One Piece's. And other stuff. Plenty of other stuff has better action than One Piece, I think. And like, there's just too many characters. I'm gonna start complaining about Marineford more. You're not gonna hear as many complaints. Hazel. Luffy hated that arc too. You're right. Oh, you're right. Oh, he hated it. Oh, it was the worst. I will admit, technically, the point that made me cry the hardest is him realizing he has his crew. After he's so dark in the depression and just like all he's been through, all of these other people kicking his ass and just like beating him. And he's like, oh my god, I have all these friends. And the way the anime depicts it, like going in the proper order, it goes in the proper order of fucking Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Chopper, Robin, Frankie Brook. Like that, the moment Zoro comes up, I am sobbing. I am completely and I was like the most face-scrunchingly comfortable sob in bed. It was so nice. It was so nice. And I'm like, you're right. Yes, exactly. And I knew that moment was coming too, because of course I was spoiled to that too. But it's executed so fucking well, and I love it. God damn it. So Marineford has that going for it. So it's like, I can't hate that arc. I don't hate a single arc. I love all of them. It was Marineford is the first time where I'm like, that was too many characters. There's a lot of instances where two characters get in a fight, and then they cut away to other things, and then they don't come back. Or they're doing something else. Like, remember when Crocodile saved Ace, and then Doflamingo comes in and barges in, and they start fighting, and the next time you see Crocodile is he comes in out of nowhere and attacks Akainu? Like, what happened? What the fuck happened? Right? Maybe I'm misremembering it. Or Ace and Luffy are running, and Ace encounters Aokiji, and they have a big ice versus fire fight. They do one big blast, and then he's like, he completely melted his ice, and then Ace just keeps running. I'm like, wait, Aokiji, aren't you gonna do so? Is the fight over just like that? Like, what? Where was Smoker that entire arc? He has one encounter with Luffy, and he just disappears. Where the fuck did he go? The majority of the arc. Moria didn't need to be there. All he fucking did was like, I could use that as a corpse, and just like throw bats at people. Really not a presence, you know? I didn't learn shit about Doflamingo. Not that I was expecting to, but like, that doesn't help me. You know, I'm not appeased by that. You know, Kizaru, all he fucking does is shoot lasers at people. He just like shoots a laser to inconvenience something or complicate or whatever. And there's only a few instances where like it makes sense where he gets occupied and doesn't keep doing what he was doing just then. Like Whitebeard is like, hey, you stop that or something. But like so often Kizaru would just show up and he's like, I'm still here, guys, and like laser beams them or whatever. And I'm like, why? What's going on? Like, what is happening? You know, it's so frustrating. There was a lot of that. Luffy, I've heard 0 One Piece spoilers and live under a rock. Live above a rock. Okay, Victor, okay. Oda's depression is why characters die in the arc. Also, his depression was caused by problems with his personal life. Yeah, I see what you mean. No, but like, you could explain, oh, he finally killed somebody. But like, that just made sense for the story. And actually reminded me a lot of Ashino Joe. And that doesn't have to do with Chiba being depressed, I don't imagine. But, I don't know. I think that made sense in the story. And why both of those characters, I won't say who they are. It makes sense. And it was a great moment for both of them. I mean, not great physically, but like for their story, you know? I love, I won't say which one. Oda's, yeah. Been pretty good, just chilling. Is Oda like Tomino? Guess so. You missed Sanji. You're right, I did miss Sanji. You got me. I like Sanji a lot, actually. I know apparently he gets worse. I don't know how. We'll see. I'm hoping that it's okay. But I like Sanji a lot. I don't even have like a weak. I think my roommate said that that's his weakest, but I can't name like a. I would say it only applies to length of time being there. Like, I am mostly attached to Luffy, seconded by Zoro, then Nami, then Usopp, then Sanji, you know? And then I like Brook a lot. And I really like Brook. It's just like I don't have enough from him, is all. Absolutely. Jinbei and Lucy's interaction at the end broke me. Yeah. And I'm really happy Jinbei's the one that did that for him. And it makes sense what happens later in the story. All the things that Jinbei does in Marineford make sense what happens in the story. TBH, I disagree about needing the crew. I'm not saying needing the crew so much as like I didn't enjoy it because they weren't there. I know why they're not there. And especially because none of them are powerful enough to be in that situation. Like, they could have lost a couple of their members if any of them were there. Like, Luffy was having a tough time as it was, barely hanging on. If he was having that tough of a time, forget any of the other characters. Maybe Zoro could have outlasted something, but like, the other characters would be so fucked. It would just be a really unattainable situation. Way more dire than like the end of the end of Eni's lobby. Like, way worse. So it makes sense why they're not there. I get the logic behind it, but like, them not being involved just makes me not like it more. Makes me like it less, I should say. I think it's more important. It's important for series to have a change of status quo. I agree. I think the breaking them up was good. I hated it. I hated that episode. I was so sad and annoyed, and just like, because I like that aspect of the show, but I get it for like logic, right? I get it. Keep the series engaging and explore new possibilities. I understand you feel that way. I really love One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Lets you play through all the Marineford fights. Interesting. Kizaru is inherently very lazy, so it makes sense for him not be very active, I think. Sure, but just the way it's depicted in the story with him just kind of... If any one line of dialogue is like, resolves the fight or resolves why that wasn't the case, I can understand it. If Kizaru just like fires the laser and he's like, like he just runs off and he's like, or something, it just shows something visible. Otherwise, I don't want to just imply that he was just lazy or something, you know? Chiba and Oda are very different writers, however. Oh, yeah, sure. So you just spoiled a bunch of it, and I already forgot all of it. Okay. The actor Kizaru is based on played Jigen in the live-action Lupin movie. Oh, that's cool. Shapes, do you have one favorite One Piece laugh. My favorite is Whitebeard's. His laugh makes me laugh every time. That was the comedy Marineford for me. I guess. I don't even remember his laugh. You know what laugh I am very, very fond of is the giant from Robin's backstory. I forget his name. Saul D something? I know he's a D, which is funny. But he was like, that was so good. And him teaching it to Robin is the cutest shit. I love that laugh a lot. I'm thinking of other ones. I actually kind of liked the big giants from Giant Island, from I don't know the name of the island. The two giants that were fighting, they're dueling each other. Both of them had really like, or whatever. Those are good laughs. Yeah, but I would say either of those. No, Sanji gets better. Oh, good. I feel like you're lying, but good. The Whole Cake arc helps re-rail Sanji's character after the next few arcs Familiarize him. Yeah, that seems like it. I've seen very good shots of Sanji and Whole Cake and stuff, and like, good, cool. I'm looking forward to it. I really like Sanji, but you really gotta suffer sometimes before it gets better. There's a light at the end of that tunnel. Yeah. Ooh, Ano Hideaki just got awarded the Japanese government with Japan's Medal with Purple Ribbon for his contributions and accomplishments to anime. Yeah, I saw that. That's really great. Jaguar de Sol. Okay. Little Garden. Right. Okay. Yeah. It was good. It was really good. We got a little 2 hours, but it's okay. It's all One Piece. I'll keep going. No, Sanji my goat, actually. I wonder about it. I wonder how different, because it sounds to me like he is more perverted and like a creep. Whereas I loved how he's a womanizer character, but he's a concerned and like genuinely loves them in a tasteful way. Like how, you know, and obviously he gets the nosebleeds from like seeing Ningyo and a mermaid and whatever, you know, like he's still a horny, but like he's very tasteful. Unlike Brooke, contrast with Brooke, who is just very like, let me see your panties, you know, which is really funny. Dumb, but funny. Just because of the deadpan way and like frank way that he says it, it's just like, oh, what the fuck, you know. But like, you know, Sanji's a lot more like, I care about the ladies. I care. Like I love that, like, no, we have to save Nami, and they're like, you know, there's other people, right? Like when Nami when like the crew initially gets separated on Thriller Bark with Nami, Usopp, and Chopper, and he's like, we gotta save Nami, and they're like, you know, there's more than just her, right? It's just really funny. It just like represents stan culture, or just like, you know, best girl. Because a lot of guys are probably like that, who have considered Nami best girl and stuff like that. They're like, we have to save Nami. Nami Swan. It's great. It's like, yes, finally, a character for me. I'm partial to Perona's life. Yeah, Perona's is good. I really liked him at the point where you were, though. Yeah. I already really liked him. Okay. I don't know who my favorite One Piece character would be. Maybe Perona. Serious, not serious. The crew is at their best together. Obvious, but still hard to think of them separately. Yeah, they're not as good separate as they are together. Perona's laugh is great. Defo, I love her. That last rebuild film was amazing and made up for most of the problems I had with Ava. I do like the series, though. Yeah, I agree. It does make the other rebuild movies completely worth and like warranted. The fourth movie definitely warrants their existence, in my opinion, in my view. He was already perverted back in Thriller Bark, best arc. Yeah, I mean, yes, but like not in an overbearing way, you know, and not in a very overt like skis, which I'm kind of expecting. I'm wondering if that's what people think of him after time skip. And I'm like, okay, dang, the fucking Kurok, the island he ends up on must have really fucked him up. That's also like not a great look. I like Ivan a lot. I really like Ivan, but the fucking Okama thing, that island, it's just that island. Ivan's great. His posse is also really great. And, of course, fucking Bon Clay is one of the best One Piece characters in the show. Bar none. top 25, baby. We stan. But that island that Sanji goes on to was so bad. It's not funny. It's not I could really not. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Like it, but it doesn't like it physically. I'm sorry. I don't know if this is like TM. I don't know if it's just like very insensitive or something. But just like, if Ivan is able to turn people into women, like he has the hormone thing and he just turns guys who are unwilling, who are just not asking for it, into girls, and just like there's the gender swap thing. I'm so sorry. Why hasn't he done that to anyone in the island? Clearly he hasn't. The designs on those characters are so badly stereotypical, and like I'm not expecting them to whatever. Like Ivan, I like Ivan because like there's a distinct character to him, and he's not just a butt of a joke. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it works off really, really well as like, you know, him being a drag queen. But then like the other characters on that island were so bad and like overly stereotypical and not funny. Just so bad. And I'm like, that doesn't like why hasn't he used the hormone thing on all of them who obviously want? I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not trying to. I don't know. Yeah, later arc Sanji from Brock to Master Roshi. Whole cake puts him back to Brock territory. Oh, good. Okay. I see what you mean by ours. Yeah. That's what I was expecting. It's an amazing movie, though. I just think it's nothing more than that. Than Ava, yeah. Spoilers, white beards. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I had to put that, Panda Man, but okay. But that is the death I was referring to, yes. I love that. He's like, I like this. What kind of a pirate doesn't like treasure? And then he like, what do you want, Edward Newgate? He's like, a family. And I'm like, yeah! Let's go! It's so good, dude. It's better than the third rebuild. And End of Ava. I like End of Ava a lot. I love that fruit, the hormone one. Gotta give the anime credit for cutting a joke out of Thriller Bark where Sanji implies he wants to own female slaves. Sheesh! Yeah, good call. Hell yeah. I think it's because he's been in prison for years. I guess, but then none of the entire island is like that? Or does the hormone wear off? If the hormone wears off, that's one thing. I didn't think it did. But you're right, like there would be plenty of them that he hasn't gotten to, and that would be my assumption. But then like none of them are like that? Are girls? I think it's at that point it's definitely like out of something else. Like they actually don't want to physically be turned into girls or something, I guess. Pretty sure Ivankov is based on a real drag queen. Well, I mean, probably a real drag queen, but also just Tim Curry in Rocky Horror. Like, he looks identical to Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show, who's also, like, their words, not mine, sweet transvestite. I think Ivankov is Oda's apology for the transvestite island. Immediately afterwards? Immediately? I get, like, you're right. Like, I do think he ends up kind of making up for it, but, like... My goat! A real drag queen mixed with the main character from Rocky Horror. Right. Also, I will say the original is probably like that because it's a cover arc gag. Oh. Yeah, I guess so. Ugh. Anime invented a lot with what we actually see. I see. Where we're currently at, I think there are signs that can be taken as Oda reflecting on his handling of representation in the past. I agree. I know which character you're talking about, and I think that's very interesting. And, you know, arguably, it is interesting, right? Is it possible for a story to redeem itself retroactively? Like, later in the story, the writer is like, I didn't handle that specific aspect so well. Let me try again. And they do better and improve. I wonder if the people who take such umbrage with perhaps that maybe that they consider a big critical flaw of the show or the series, what would they consider that? 'Cause, I mean, that very rarely happens, actually. So it's a very interesting case, I think. I think, honestly, like, it's good because you want to consider the story as a whole. And if you consider it as a whole, you see a dip, you see, like, a misstep, but then you see him kind of pick himself back up. And I think that there's a redemption to that. I think that's really interesting. And I would reward that, personally. I think you acknowledge it. You absolutely acknowledge it. And be like, that was a misstep. I don't think he did the right thing there. Or I think that was a poor choice. But it would be disingenuous to not only, if you downplay that moment, but it would also be disingenuous if you downplay him fixing it. Not fixing it so much, but just like redeeming it, trying again, and doing better. And maybe people will still have problems with it, but like, he is trying. I think that's interesting. I love that movie. Not to derail the chat, I don't like End of Eva because I feel like it flanderizes Shinji's character and is pointlessly depressing. I could see that. I was surprised when watching it for the first time how extra lifeless Shinji is, and he's like in a particular point of hopelessness. Although it does kind of make sense given that point in the story where like Rei is, whatever. Overly depressing I can kind of see as well. I think the ultimate spectacle... I'm kind of a weird Eva fan because I don't take it for like the thematic things. I like it as a spectacle. It's a great spectacle movie of just like incredible animation, really dramatic music and imagery. The imagery is incredible. In terms of like what it all means and stuff, I don't care that much about it. I'm certainly like, whoa, and maybe I want to know what it means, but I care less about that. I care more about the impact and the excitement. At least that's what I take for Eva specifically. I think End of Eva is one of the best endings of all of anime. In the manga, the islands the Straw Hats go to are mostly just cover stories. They get very little coverage in the actual manga, maybe like a few pages each. Yeah, I get that. They don't get their own chapters like the anime episodes. Yeah. And, I mean, even if they're chapter covers, I think the majority of the islands they go to suck. I was, like, not happy with where Usopp got sent, because, like, it would just make sense that he just got sent to the Giants Island. That's where he wanted to go. I get you want to kind of be sporadic and random, I guess, but, like, fucking Nami got sent to the Weather Island. You couldn't be more perfect. Zoro got sent to what turned out to be Mihawk's place. You couldn't have been more perfect. Why do you have to invent this thing with Usopp and the beetle guy? I don't know why they didn't just send him to the Giants Island. Unless, of course, the Giants Island is going to be part of the story later. Sure. Chopper I was a little weirded by, especially because, we have a library. Actually, we're really advanced. Because otherwise it's just like, whatever. I could take it or leave it. Frankie is a good place. Frankie was sent to a really amazing, like, it makes sense, interesting place. Robin got such a bad rap. I like where she ends up because she's, like, with the revolutionaries. That's cool. But, like, she got such a raw deal. It sucks. Brooke also got a raw deal, but, like, it doesn't, I don't know. I guess it could make sense. Like, all of them are in a place of, like, I guess that makes sense. Sanji's the worst one, though. Because, like, that one especially felt forced, I think. And that's just, like, I think it was just a gag. And it wasn't a funny gag, and also just, like, not welcome. Also just not the place for a gag, in my opinion. Because it's just such a dramatic, like, hopeless bad moment for the Straw Hats. You don't need the comedy there. It's different strokes, I guess. I think Gideon and Devilman did this type of ending better. If I was to choose, I think I would prefer Be Invoked. I love the Be Invoked ending. And I like End of Evangelion, but I think it's a great movie. But, like, through the whole movie, in terms of it being the concise ending, it's a little annoying. But, like, I think the Ideon one's awesome. And Devilman. The thing is with Devilman is, like, it is good, but, like, I don't know. It's a little muddled, I think. It shows Shinji is willing to try. It's actually pretty uplifting. And the Eva's presentation is the only part of them I like. I gotta rewatch End of Ava. I was too young at the time to consider any of the characters. I just like the pretty girls, screaming teens, and abstract aliens. I'd like to see how I feel about it now. Yeah, it's definitely one of those shows where it's different the more like at different ages in which you watch it and rewatch it for sure. I feel the Ava manga's adaptation of End does a better job. There's no anime ending compared to the ending of Third Gundam compilation movie. It's an interesting pick. Personally, I think as controversial as the TV ending is, I do think it does a better job at getting the point across. I like the TV ending as well. I don't know. I'm sort of a coin toss on whether I like it more than End or not. Kuma just sent them places. Yeah, I didn't like that. Especially because Nami and Frankie really makes you think, oh, they're all going to be sent to interesting, make sense for their character places. And yeah, they all technically do at the end, but then like as it went on, it's like, where the fuck did he get sent? Why? What the fuck? It was weird. TBH, I've still never seen the compilation movies. Do they have a different ending? It's just better animated, I think. I don't think they have a different ending. But it is definitely a lot better animated. Specifically, the third movie has a lot more new animation, from what I've been told. I'll read the manga soonish. The Sanji one makes sense because the Okama were always set up as karate masters. Always? Always? Isn't this island the first time we've seen them? Again, it's one of those things where it's like with when Chopper gets sent to that island, it's a bunch of savages and birds, and it's kind of like a prehistoric island. But then it's like, oh, actually, we have a big library, and our technology is actually kind of sophisticated. Like, all right, I guess it makes sense. You know what I mean? The compilation movie just recaps the series. You don't have to watch it. Are you talking about the rebuild films or compilation movie? I think he was talking about the Gundam one, because also we mentioned the third Gundam compilation movie. But they do have new animation. I think the second and third one in particular have a lot more new animation. And that's kind of what you watch them for. Anyway, I've been on for about 2.5 hours. As it be. It's been a great time talking with you guys. I always enjoy le chat. Makes these streams nice and fun. You guys are always great. Alright, I'm actually going to go eat dinner. And then go see The Northman with buds. It's a fun time. They set up new types earlier, makes a greater focus on Amuro, cuts out the Gundam's veil. Interesting. Alright, I'm out of here. Thanks guys for coming. Yo, peace.